Good evening. Welcome to Body and Soul Awareness with Stephanie and Oksana. Here are your hosts. Hello, everyone. This is Oksana on air on Sunday afternoon. We are here to host our another amazing show that we've been looking forward to have with a beautiful guest that we will be introducing shortly. Stephanie is on her way. She is definitely living her life to the fullest right now. She has been going through quite a bit of changes and transitions, but she will be joining us shortly. And but for now, it's just me for a couple of minutes. And what I will start with is my week, how my week has been, and how I was able to do the homework that was presented last time, and I will remind everyone what it was. So my week, again, was busy, but what was exciting about my week is today, again, I had my second mindful moving meditation class, and I am very excited to see how it is evolving. And also, what is interesting about these classes, because they're just the beginning classes, they present less.
Hey there.
But at the same time, hi, Stephanie, you are here. How are you?
Yeah, sorry I'm a little late. I'm actually on the road. We're coming back from visiting family for the funeral. So, got a little bit tied up. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish talking about your classes.
Well, what I was saying is how my classes have less than 10 people right now, but what's so beautiful that those people that are, attempting to join, but for some reason they cannot, I do understand it's live, but the benefit of my classes right now, because they're smaller, I have more one-on-one conversations and sessions with people, and I'm able to give more information that I will be in the future probably when the class will be packed with people. So right now, when I have 4 or 5 people in class, I'm actually spending more time in series of how we are and what the movements that we are doing, what they're actually doing on a deeper level, not on the surface, but on a deeper. And I think more than anything, they even help me to connect with myself even more. So pretty much, yes, those people that are missing out right now, they are missing out because I am giving more time right now to people, because I'm expressing myself and I want them to understand where I'm coming from. But I was just saying, Stephanie, that I'm so excited to have my second class today. I will be skipping next Sunday because I will be actually on the beach. Priority.
Nice.
I know. I'm heading out to Florida for work, and I'm spending a couple of more days to kind of have my time since I'm already going to be there. And
you know what? I never understood why everybody doesn't do that goes on business trips. Why not stay a couple extra days? The flight's already paid for. So what, you have to pay for the room a couple extra nights.
Yeah, I agree with you. You have to combine it. You're already there.
Right.
So,
might as well make the most of it.
Oh, yes, and I love the beach.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad your classes are going good. I can't wait to take one. Maybe I can get one in before we get out of town again.
That would be lovely.
But yeah, I'd love to take it.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
But,
so fill us in what's happening with you. I know you are dealing with quite an
life. Dealing with life, right? I'm dealing with the only thing that's promised in life, and that's that you're gonna die, right? So, but
I know.
more than that, I think it's crazy. I feel like I was spending more time helping other people grieve I did my own grieving, but then I know that her energy is still with us. So even though her body isn't with us, it doesn't mean that she's gone, right? So
Right.
I helped a lot with going through her stuff, because I remember when I had to go through my mom's stuff, that was probably the toughest part. So I helped kind of just like organize things for her mom, and I helped because she had 5 kids altogether, my aunt, and my cousin Kristen is the one that passed away, so she has 4 boys that are still here, and they needed to eat. So keeping busy feeding them and making sure that they didn't destroy the house was very interesting last week. But everything went well. Funeral services were beautiful. There was over 300 people there, more people than could actually fit. So it was nice. It was nice. It was a good tribute to a beautiful life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting. We are bringing some healing energy today, and I think it contributes just beautifully for your situation, and also, you know, the 9/11 situation that is happening. I actually
Oh, wow, yeah. Dude, you know, it's so funny. I forgot it was 9/11 today. That shows how much I watch TV. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't either.
There's a lot of energies going around right now. Hopefully it reminds everybody about the camaraderie and how everybody came together afterwards, you know? And maybe people start working on that again, as opposed to start focusing on terrorists and how we get rid of terrorism, because obviously I don't want to get too much into conspiracy theories. We have a lot of shows that already do that on the radio station, which is great. But I think it's more about fixing things as opposed to what's bad. Let's focus on what's good and make more of that.
Exactly. I fully agree with you. Just like I was saying in my class, where focus goes, energy flows. So whatever you will focus, you will extend, you will create, you will add more to it. So remembering those people absolutely is a beautiful thing, but focusing on the positive, what comes out of it, you know, not harming or hating or disliking the opposition, whatever opposition is. I don't even get that anymore because I don't live like that. So focusing on, you know, the positive side, what it brought to us, the unity, love, whatever else for others.
Exactly. Hey, how'd your homework go?
Well, actually, I gave that homework in class today as we focus on a subject. Here's my English number, second language comes out. As you focus on object, you first look at it from your eyes, then you move into the center of your head, the pineal gland, and then you move to the back of your head. It went well. Well, actually, you know what? We did not do that homework. I gave them that homework to do at home.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I did. So, I mean, for me, I practice that more than I possibly can or try, because not everything looks the way it looks. You know? Yeah.
Well, I did my homework, but it's weird because I didn't really focus on an object. It was more situations I was in, because being around a lot of family can always be extremely interesting. So what I did was, first of all, it was a funeral, so everyone was sad. Everyone was dealing with their own way of mourning and grieving the loss. So I had to look at the situation, not necessarily just from what I could see and what was happening and what people were saying, but looking a little bit deeper into the emotion that was behind it, I think. So when I looked at them, like I said, I'm not looking at them through my eyes. Obviously, I'm seeing them. But it was more from a place of feeling where I was looking at the situation from. So I totally did the homework from that aspect. But it's funny because I kept on getting inundated with owls. And I don't know about you, but I constantly have animals that come to me, and it's very Native American and shaman, I guess, where animals that cross your path come into your life for a reason. So I kept on seeing an owl. One night I was driving, and there was one in the middle of the street, and he, as soon as he saw my lights, he flew away, but I saw him there. Then I was going through Kristen's things, and I found a notebook with a whole bunch of shiny owls on it. And then I was going through the clothes that I had left in storage, and I found an owl on a shirt. So I kept on getting owls, and then I looked up what an owl animal totem is, because you can do that. Go Google whatever animal you see and just put, like, fox animal totem or cardinal animal totem, whatever, and it'll give you kind of an idea of what you should be looking at, focusing on, whatever, in your life specifically at this time. Well, owl is to look at things deeper and look at things from a different perspective. Don't necessarily listen to what people are saying, really hear what they're saying behind the words that they actually said. So I thought that was kind of interesting, given the homework and then everything that I was going through this week. So the homework was really good for me.
It's a good point you brought up. I've been connecting with bees, as you know, since last Sunday. And you know what I've realized? In fact, outside of my door, on my balcony, I have a tiny, tiny nest that does not have bees right now. But they're literally trying to get into me through the door sometimes. Oh, wow. And for me, like when I looked up the bee, because they collect the goods, right? Honey.
Right.
Meaning honey is it's food. It's everything for you in a sense. It's your nourishment. So I am receiving the message, for me at least, that whatever I've worked for in the past is coming alive right now. That's at least that's one that I'm resonating with by looking at the characteristics of the bee, because they're collecting the nutrients and then they're feeding off that, or feeding the queen, whoever. So, so to me, yes, as animal totem, they're coming into my life by actually like connecting with me, and I even got bitten by one.
They sure like to bite you. But yeah, it's cool because usually every time that I've had animals show up often, I would look them up, and it would always be something that resonated very well with what was going on. And then I'm always like very connected to nature, and especially with animals. So I don't know. That's one of the trains of thought that I really like, because I feel like they are so connected, the animals, that they know if you need to pay attention to them or not for a specific reason.
Yes, yes. I also incorporated stones in my class today, and I've explained what stones present and that they come with ancient wisdom and energy. And we incorporated that in the class, and I thought that was helpful as well.
Yeah.
So, integrating energy and animals into your life is a benefit because of their energy and the messages that they come with, because they're so in tune.
Yeah, because they haven't been disconnected like we are. That's where maybe our house pets, they've been disconnected a lot.
I know. We turn them into humans.
I know. Yeah, they're definitely family members. I actually have both of my cats in the car now, because I had given them to Kristen so she could babysit them for me for a little while. But now I'm taking them to another home in the meanwhile, while they come out with me in California.
Little pumpkins.
I know, I love them. I know, it's crazy. I had to fly all the way back to California, not just for a funeral, but so I could take care of my babies. My fur babies.
Well, you don't know why life presented this, and as you move forward, you'll know. Unfortunately, it comes with bad news, but as I always say, step back and see a much bigger picture.
Exactly.
And go from there. Yeah, mourning is important, but seeing a bigger picture is definitely healthy. Healthier way to move through life.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of the only way, right? Because if you have tunnel vision, you really don't experience life. And tunnel vision,
you
I think,
experience
can
it your way.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But it's so much more
limited. Yeah, it's limited way, but we all evolve, we all change, we all adjust. It's just how you express yourself through life and where you're going with that. So, but anyway, I thought it's a good time to introduce our special guest. What do you think?
Yes, let's get her on. Go ahead, tell us all about her.
I cannot wait. So first, I want to say that, you know what, let me read about Susan first, and then we'll say how we met her, because I think it's also a beautiful story. Yes.
Okay, good.
So we have a special guest today. It's Susan Gash, and as a healer, Susan is the real deal. Her spirit medicine is authentic, pure, and energetically crystal clean. During healing sessions, she invokes the Spirit Doctor team, a rare entourage of over 40 beings who apply not only traditional healing methods, but stellar futuristic healing technologies. Session participants are able to make personal healing requests, receive guidance from the Spirit Doctors, and awaken to their own innate gifts and cosmic heritage. As a dowser, Susan blends her highly developed intuitive base with precise technical skills to assist people with removing obstacles, raising energy levels, and reclaiming lost aspects of their soul's essence. She is a former dancer, certified movement analyst, and founder of an all-women dance theater that received international acclaim. She lives on a spectacular mountaintop farm high in the Andes of Ecuador. From this location of pristine nature and spirit, she offers private sessions with the Spirit Doctor team and with Dowsing, working both online and in person. So Susan, I've met Susan, I'm sure Stephanie, it was with you as well, I would say about 3 years ago. We've attended a beautiful remote resort. You can only get to that resort when the tide is down on the beach. So you have to drive on the beach, and then by the, let's say, 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it goes all the way to the mountains, and you cannot go through. You have to go find a different route. And at that time when we were there was no other route, only by the plane. So it was a very remote, very magical place where we spent, I want to say, about a week doing all kinds of meditation sessions, clarity, all kinds of stuff. We ate, we slept, we walked, we hiked there. We did all kinds of stuff, and I did not want to leave that place. I still think about it here and there. So that's kind of a little bit of a background how we met Susan and who Susan is, and I'm very excited to bring her on. Stephanie, are you ready for Susan?
Yeah, I'm excited. Susan is definitely one of those people. It's funny, the introduction saying that how pure and crystal clear she is. Like, you can totally see that when you talk to her, when you're in her presence. She's just so light. So I'm really excited to get her on. It's been a long time since we've seen her.
I know. I'm excited. All right.
Yay.
Let's bring her on.
Susan,
Hello,
hey, pretty
Susan.
lady.
Hi there, ladies. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction and memories of being at the coast.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. I'd love to go back there one day. Actually, I have to come to your mountain first.
Yeah, you have to come to the mountain first.
You could tell us, we got a wonderful introduction, but tell us a little bit more about how you got where you are, what your aha moment was, and then how you got to this point.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's interesting because I think most of us, especially for women, I think that our pathways from through a decade of our life to another decade are certainly very curvy. They're not linear. So we're on our way. We find a passion. We follow it for a while, and then it will lead us to another place. So my first real career was in the performing arts, and as you mentioned, I had been a dancer before, and once a dancer, always. It's in my heart for sure. So I love to move.
Yes, I agree.
And I know you do, Anna. And so that work, I really, 25 years, I was in the profession, and I did all kinds of things. I started a company and matched up with another woman who helped me direct it. It was wonderful, much like the synergy that you two have. And we combined our talents, and so we did the choreography, we did the administration for the company, we set up all the touring plans, and we also both taught at universities at the same time. And so that was great. And we created new pieces and performed and toured them. So that was a very full and rich part of my life. And it was interesting because speaking of the aha moment, it was interesting after, 25, 30 years of this, we were getting ready to have a premiere in our hometown of a new work we had just created. And I was sitting outside in a little garden I had in a little city apartment and just doing a little meditation before going over to the theater. And I had this voice come in my head, really crystal clear, and it said, I want my life back. And I thought, what? This is my life, right? This is my life. I love my work. This is my life. So what life are you speaking about? And I just thought, well, that's fascinating. And what was interesting is about 10 minutes later, I went through the house to pick up my bags and get ready to go. And I put them down and danced wildly like a little child, like doing creative movement for like 15 minutes with music. And I thought, oh boy, am I in for some change? I have no idea what it is. So that really began the process. And I realized, at that point, I was rounding a corner, and I didn't see, as all of us, as things start to change, sometimes we can round the corner, but we really can't see what it is. And that's when we have to, bring in a lot of faith and trust, and then take the steps. So that was one moment. And I guess what took me from the performing arts actually into the healing arts was that the last probably 4 or 5 years of my career, I started moving that direction. So there really was a transition. I started working with women and working with movement as a healing art. And we would meet up for quarterly retreats in alignment with the seasons, and really work through processes and all through movement and some talk. So it was beautiful. So I was being more and more drawn to that, less and less drawn to doing the other work that I had been doing. So that was part of the deal. And then I met Sven, who's my husband, and he was already in the healing arts. And I think that was another big moment, which shifted me However, I would have never, ever in my wildest imagined guessed that we were going to ever work together. So it's been an interesting path. But here I am up on the mountain in Ecuador and doing healing work pretty much on a daily basis now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a beautiful story. And it's interesting because I am pretty much right there now, Susan. I am going through that transition. And
oh yeah,
it's interesting. I was going. I did that
transition a few years ago. I'm sorry, guys. I have to get off. The baby woke up, and I'm at a rest station, and it's really loud, so I'll check back in if I can, okay?
Sounds
okay,
good.
Stephanie, bye-bye.
Good. But what I was saying, Susan, is I was telling Stephanie earlier this week is that everything is becoming so much more clear for me. But at the same time, I feel like I'm standing on moving water. Like I don't know where it's gonna flow, but it's the clear water, but it's moving water, and I have to constantly remind myself to trust in life and myself to move me where it needs to move me. So yeah, you just spoke, and it really hit home because that's kind of what I'm going through right now as well. So. Well, that's beautiful. And of course, like you don't know who you're going to meet on your path and where it's going to take you because you met those specific people. Like in your case, it's Sven. And now, like, you know, he's a big part of the work you do, like would be one of the main parts too. Right?
Yeah, I mean, one just never knows. But, you know, I just want to comment on the image of the moving water. That's such a really good visual for what it feels like, Oksana. You know, at the same time, the moving water is beautiful, and that you know you're not really stuck. And if a person is stuck, then there's all kinds of ways to begin to unstick. But it does definitely feel like shaky ground. I mean, it is also, you know, closing some doors and having some grief and having a feeling of loss, and then allowing time and allowing other doors. It's, you know, I'm an Aries by my astrological sign, so I like to do things kind of in a rapid pace. However, I had a really good friend at that time who's a therapist, who's a lifelong friend, who said to me, I know you would like to end this company right now and just step out, but you know it's going to be you have to fulfill all these contracts and all these things. It's going to take you another eight months to a year. However, she said, I think it's in your best interest, you know, that you really take it at this pace. So it's interesting because it always, as a dancer, I think you'll get this too, Oksana, is that, you know, before we actually make a real leap in space with our body, we usually have to take those running steps before we can actually push off, to, you know, before we have that momentum behind us. And then,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and one point that I am enjoying in my transitions and, you know, whatever I'm going through is I actually don't feel stuck, which I probably have passed that point already. Right now, it's just that unknownness, you know, that you have to always be at peace with. And I think a lot of people are suffering because of that, because they want to know what's next. They want to know what will be tomorrow. They want to know what will be in their bank account tomorrow, or who or what they must do to get whatever they need to get. But in reality, nothing is known, nothing. And you can be faced with a situation tomorrow that you completely didn't expect to deal with. So.
Oh, gosh, exactly.
Yes. Let's go very quickly to a commercial break, and then we will be right back.
Okay.
So we are back on air with Susan Gash, and we are talking about spirit doctors. And I'm very, very curious to hear more about it. And Susan, please, let's start our conversation about spirit doctors. I had a pleasure to be part of your session once when I was in Ecuador, and it was absolutely out of this world. So, but can you please talk about it and tell us what everything is about?
Sure. Yes, I remember that evening very well because we had a beautiful location for that session outside. We were underneath a big veranda in the moonlight. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So quite a healing environment. The Spirit Doctor team are, let me just say, they're a beautiful group of beings, and they're all on spirit side. Some people might consider that something like an angel. Many of the Spirit Doctor team actually were here on the earth plane. They had lives here as physicians and healers, and now they're just continuing their work from the other side. What's beautiful about the fact that they're in another dimension is that they have access to what they refer to as future technology tools. And I've seen those at play quite a few times, and mostly, well, they have quite a range. But let me also say that the team, in a way that we can all recognize, many of them have Western medical trainings and backgrounds. So any specialty that you can think of, there's a member on the team. Like there are a group of surgeons, there are a group of orthopedics, and usually when the team, when we facilitate a session, and basically I call them in, they work usually in twos and threes. And they do consultations with each other and decide on what is the best procedure, because they're always looking at what is that for our highest and best. And they have access to that because they're on the other dimension looking in. And what's beautiful about them is because they were here on the earth plane, they really understand human emotions, they understand the human condition. Now, sometime probably 7 years ago, actually during that session, Oksana, that you were in, when we moved to Ecuador, another group joined with the team, like a subset, and they made themselves known as Earth Shamans. And they're just that. They're healers, and they're very much walking the earth plane, but in what we call fourth dimension, like spirit energies. And sometimes they'll come in, and when they do, the Spirit Doctor team generally just steps back a little bit, and they come in and they work with really ancient healing systems, and they will use very traditional tools. They're tools like they will come in and they will use the elements. They might bring in water. They might be working with feathers for a clearing for someone energetically. Or sometimes I've seen them bring in beautiful bows of like fir and cedar branches. And then here's the fun part. About a year ago, there was another smaller group that joined the team, and they made themselves present. During a private session I was giving to a friend who's actually a shaman in this lifetime. And they came in as a triad, as three energies, three beings, and they referred to themselves as galactic shamans. And what they told me was that they've come from very, very deep in space, and that they've never walked on the earth plane before. And what's interesting about the way they work is that they work with breath. Sometimes it sounds, and wind, and sometimes it sounds like wind and breath, and so that's pretty much the team. Now that they've all met one another, they sometimes will merge. It's less, here's the Spirit Doctor teams, next group. Sometimes they're in tangent with each other. So that's always interesting. And yeah, so that's kind of a little background on who they are.
So if I could ask you a little bit more about the multidimensional self, how would you describe this statement for someone who potentially has never heard of this term or is not aware of that?
Yeah, I was thinking another way to describe that, Oksana, is just to say, multifaceted, all the different aspects that combine to make us who we are. And we're also very, sometimes too familiar just with the 3D, our physical body being in a very specific place and time. But we have our spirit body, and then we have our soul. And all of these are working in union. Sometimes we're just maybe not so aware of that.
Well, I'm introducing in my class because we like I explain, there is the physical form, right? Then the energy form, and then the spiritual. So there are bodies to us. It's not just we're walking bones. There are energy levels, layers to our self, to our entity, being, and that is, extends to previous lives and aspects of us that are somewhere else besides here right now in the physical form. So I guess that's what you are referring to, right? Just to make it a little bit more
exactly.
clear.
Yeah. And I think that in particular this year, 2016, because the way that the energies have really amplified, and we're all feeling that in different levels. I mean, I have a friend that says it's like your back is up against the wall sometimes, right? It's just pressure. But it's, in a way, a little bit of squeezing out that which no longer serves us. But right now, what I've seen just from an energetic seeing is that if we're just imagine, we're standing here as or sitting right now in a 3D physical body. And then if you imagine what I'll just call an overlay, it's like a screen, except it's holographic. It's not flat. It comes down. It's the fourth dimension. It's where the fourth dimension where our spirit guides maybe live, or angels we work with. And then the fifth dimension is layering over on top of that, which is, we could categorize that like as heaven, right? But these three dimensions right now, and there's many layers, but they're lining up. It's almost like they're coming into alignment, and our job is to be open. Our job is to be able to fluidly allow things to move. Because yes, we're still in 3D. We still have to do certain things and tasks, feed our bodies, do the dishes. However, I'm just wondering, there's been days where you go, wow, what happened? 3 hours just went by. It feels like, 10 minutes. Or, there's just a lapse of linear time or space. That's all just little experiences of this fourth and fifth dimension layering in. But the beautiful thing is it gives us access to all the many parts of ourselves. And when I refer to our cosmic nature, it's all our brothers and sisters that are in the night sky, however we want to say that, but that are with us.
Mm-hmm. So when you do your sessions, what do people that participate experience? What is, I guess, expected from them, or how does it affect them right away, or potentially a little bit later than, a couple of days or weeks after the session or months? So what's happening with people?
Well, often people will experience, like say from a physical point of view, they may experience something like a hot or cold energies, or hot or cold feeling moving through the body, or like a tingling that you might get if you've ever had acupuncture. And some, sometimes people are open enough that they can actually hear them or see them or just feel their presence. Sometimes you'll feel your physical body actually being moved, like a rotation in the arm or the leg. So many things can be happening. One of the things that the team really looks at when they do the first scan, let's say, is that they're looking at the energetic field. And if there's debris there or stuff, right, that needs to be cleared, they'll first work on that because it's sort of a layered approach, and then they come down and see into the physical body. Now, there are people who have had surgeries, myself included, and so in that case, we always say just treat yourself really gently in post-op. And a lot of times for people, there can be emotional clearings or insights will be given to something that maybe, been really troubling someone for a long time. Sometimes people just feel extremely peaceful afterwards. So something's opened up in their heart area maybe. The team has done amazing things with what they call rewiring a person's electrical system, which is really our nervous system, right? Because it seems like there's a lot of what we would call the flight-fight syndrome, or like a little bit of a shock in the body, maybe from an early trauma, maybe from a past life. And so they'll work on soothing that out. Sometimes they give prescriptions, like little remedies to give to a client to work with, either with essential oils. Sometimes it'll be just, for instance, a sea salt bath or a foot soak in sea salt for 3 days, 3 times a day. They'll be very specific. And occasionally they will stay with somebody for a period of time, and they'll let me know, we're going to be working with you for a period of 3 days. I think the longest ever was 3 weeks. And sometimes, most often actually, past life information will come through. And when that happens, it's generally because there's something from a past life that needs to be cleared that's impacting the person in this current moment. Or there's a past life gift that hasn't been remembered yet, and they really want to awaken that. So much of the work, there's a lot of technical work that's done. However, one of the outcomes of the work is that there's a lot of self-healing that gets activated. Once there's some attunements or restoration done on certain systems, certain organs. So that's kind of another look at what they do, who they are, or what people experience rather.
So I have a little bit of kind of a challenged question because I've been looking into that myself. I know, Susan. Since last time we talked to Susan, there were so many questions popping up kind of in my head, and luckily we will be bringing him back for more questions, but I thought I will address it with you since we are talking about spirits. We're talking about energetic beings that are present but not in a physical form, right? Because everything is energy, so, that's pretty much the explanation. Everything is energy. Even the physical form is energy. But I would like to go back into to the chakras. Chakras are energetic portals, right? And of course, I don't know like a full-blown history of it, but when I connect, and I started to connect with chakras with the feeling, not necessarily location or, any of those structural systems, I guess, but more of a feeling, the characteristic of that, what chakra brings for the opening. What can you contribute to that system chakra that is not necessarily for the healing aspect of us, right? Does it make sense? Should I rephrase it, or why?
I think so, but go ahead and, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and rephrase it. So what do you think the benefit of working with the chakras is versus maybe the non-benefit, or?
Exactly, yes. How is it part
Okay.
of the matrix, and what potentially is not? Like what, I just need more clarity because we're talking about energy and spirit doctors.
Yes, yeah, it's perfect actually, because I want to say this in a way, Oksana, that, you know, learning and working with the chakras is a great way to start to actually incorporate different energies in our body. However, what we discovered through this exiting the matrix piece that really was a discovery that went on for about 5 or 6 months was that when the origin of the chakras, which I think Sven painted that picture, you know, and how they were being used by what we'll just call, you know, the dark global elite. But beyond that, bigger picture is that the chakras as individual pieces or layers of energy were really holding us in separation. So I know when I actually did the final piece of that, of releasing, dismantling the chakras, the first thing that I did, Oksana, and you'll understand this, I took a deep breath and I went into a huge spiraling twist, and it felt so good, like free. So it's a process. So I think that all the work that I did with the chakras prior to, or just even understanding them, gave me some really good information about energy. However, at this point in time, I think we're being asked to stop living in polarities and to not live in separation anymore, and that includes our very own physical body. So the background for that, which is how the chakras were installed and how they're being used, is not a pretty picture. And that alone, once I had it confirmed, and we confirmed this with several other colleagues and friends, it was like, yeah, that made it easy for me to totally like. However, people we've been working with regarding this are doing it in a very step process way, right? So because it's like something you've learned, something that you've worked with, and then you're going to start to step away from it, or, you know, find a new way to explore those energies. I mean, is that helpful?
Oh, yes. Actually, that's been my evolvement and integration. So many things that I've learned in the past no longer really do anything for me or serve, and I pretty much just incorporate what does work. And that means if the chakras create separation within our energy, that means we don't have those separations in our, I guess, energy that the physical form resides, right? There's one connected energy with, right? Or how would you put it?
I mean, well, it's also, you know, it's a different way of experiencing energy, to have them, to let it be more free. And it's also a way of thinking, right? So what I discovered in my part of the research around the chakras was that, you know how we would talk about the base chakra, right? It's kind of our place of grounding or support or survival. So if somebody had an issue regarding that, around their survival, around basic needs not getting met, that it would hold, keep attending to that chakra, it would actually work as like a placeholder or identify and hold that energy. So that, you know, or people would say, my throat chakra is blocked or it's closed. And so that would be the case then. Then they would just kind of hold that story, hold that energy there, rather than allowing it to move.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I guess I will look more into that because I'm more and more curious because the whole chakra system's been embedded in us for a long time.
Centuries. But
yes,
this is
absolutely.
This is the beautiful, end of the tunnel light that's coming in, is that there's, as I say, there's so much more to us than what we've ever been told. And this is a huge year of expansion, and each of us have an opportunity to really see and feel what that's going to be for each of us individually and also collectively. It's a huge time of expansion. So, like a lot of people say, you'll hear the phrase, the veils have thinned, right? So it's not so dense. And again, that is really true as the fourth and fifth dimension are more and more present, for us. And this is something I was listening to you all speak about your animal guides. It's something that animals know. They never lost that connection with spirit. So when you're sitting in your living room and you see your cat look up, in a direction and focus on something, and you wonder, what is he looking at? Probably your guides.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it
happens all the time. So pretty much the chakra system was created by humankind, or the energies that connected to the control part of the life.
Yeah, I mean, if you would go back and look at what's been referred to as the Anunnaki, a group of beings, that came onto this planet, and basically they came to mine the gold, right? And it sounds really far out there. However, you can read a lot of material, but they basically installed the chakra systems into the human race. And very much like the film, because as we did our research and dowsing with it, just looking at these chakras being plugged into, literally, like if you go back and watch that film from 1999, Matrix film, and you actually see visual pictures of that, that's pretty close to what we saw energetically. So in any time something like that's happening, unless it's our own free will and we're connecting, we want to connect to our own spirit, to God, energy, to source, that's our choice, and that's our what we'd like. But however, these chakras were completely hooked in and wired into this operating system called the Matrix, which is basically keeping people very small, keeping them in order and very small. So,
yeah. The life is limited in those kind of situations. Very limited.
Yes.
Well, this takes us to another commercial break. So we will go to the break for a couple of minutes, and we will be right back. Hello, we are back on air with Susan Gash and Spirit Doctors and Energy Healing. Susan, are you on air?
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome back. So
Thank
I
you.
would like to take our conversation into more of why people are not getting healed. What are the blocks and obstacles to achieve health and well-being and happiness here in three-dimensional world? So can we talk about that? Because it is an issue for many people, and pretty much that's why I'm doing my classes and allowing people to connect with energy through the movement. But then it takes them even deeper, and that's kind of how I approach my awareness and teachings right now. So, what do you have to say about that?
Well, that's a beautiful teaching that you're giving and having people experience Oksana on so many levels, because when we when we come up with a disease or we're not healing, it is generally because something is stuck. And we would say energy is stuck. Something's not flowing. Now, the causes of that can be, in this moment, in this lifetime, we could start to sort of chip away. We start to look at our patterns, our habits, our ways of thinking, our food, our relationships. All of these things contribute to how we keep our vibration up, or how we, or how it sinks down. Because our physical health can be measured in megahertz, which is a frequency. And we can look at it. There's an ideal range, and then when it starts to drop below, what's happening. But it's interesting too, because sometimes things from past lives are very present in our current life. For instance, if we've made an old vow, if in a past life, let's say we were in a convent or in a monastic life, and we made an old vow of poverty, which was perfectly suited for that lifetime and probably huge, beautiful lesson, in this lifetime, we don't necessarily want that vow with us. So until we are aware of it, and need to actually clear that thing, or, something that's being passed down through our ancestral lineage. Because, and I'm thinking more about ways of thinking, ways of being, more than people say, well, my genetics are predisposed to this. But we all now know that our genetics are our own, and that we're in control. We're in control of them. And it is really so much more about the way we are, the way we live. But also, I'm not saying this from a hierarchical or high place, because any healing crisis that we have is an amazing opportunity to let something surface so that we can really see it and be with it and release it. And that's just the case with all healing, and sometimes it's, it's nitty gritty, and sometimes it's a lot of pain. And that's just part of the human experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I hear here and there from people, they're trying to accomplish certain things, and even if they're trying, it's still not working. Starting from I cannot lose weight, I'm doing everything right, I'm eating well, I'm exercising, all that stuff, but I still cannot, or I cannot heal certain. How all of these cancers are coming alive. I see it everywhere now. And every time I hear it, right away I'm thinking, okay, what were you doing all of your life to get to that location, to get to the place where you are with that issue? And also, I know from my personal experience, I've faced with quite a bit of challenge with my hips as well, from all the dancing and everything. And one time, one of my teachers said, it's actually your gift. It's a gift to understand certain things about yourself and patterns, how you talk to yourself and how you talk to your body, what you create with that energy. And I started moving from that space and addressing my physical issues from a different space, different frequency, different energy, different words, mindset. So the same goes for, I guess, all us as well, right? Because if we're using energy to heal ourselves, feelings and thoughts.
Yeah, so, that's just not something. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just thinking that what you bring to mind is, what is the conversation we're having with ourselves? Because there's a lot of negative talk that we give to ourselves, and it's just becoming aware of it, and then, changing our thought patterns. We really have to get good at observing ourselves, and also, having let's say, a technique that really works for yourself, that a processing technique for your emotions, right? So we know when we get triggered by something or someone, something says, when we have a big reaction, then it's one of those moments where you could hold the mirror, right, and turn it and flip it towards yourself and say, okay, what's going on inside of me that I'm reacting so strongly to? Because that just opens a door to begin an inquiry into yourself, into oneself, and to what's really going on here. And whether that's, a childhood trauma or some experience from another time, it's just, it's coming up for clearing. And I think basically that is our job. We're here to heal ourselves. And in that way we can heal one another and the planet. But it is really about clearing on all levels and from all times, because that is energy, and every actually disease in the physical body starts as energy before it actually manifests into a 3D disease. It's a matter of, I don't want to use the word being vigilant, but being on point, so to speak, right? And really noticing these things, as well as balancing that out with having, fun in our lives, having joy in our lives. Here's a fun thing, Oksana, but here's an interesting thing, is that someone came for a spirit doctor session that had, what is it called? What is it called? When you're tired, chronic fatigue, right? Chronic fatigue, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And chronic fatigue, which is also going around quite a lot. So one of the things that the team did, well, they worked with her energy body and her physical body, did a lot of restoration. However, in the end, they invited in the spirit of joy. And they said, when there's joy in your being, in your emotions, in your body, when there's joy, this cannot, as a frequency and a vibration, this chronic fatigue cannot coexist. It cannot be there. So I think that was like a moment that I had a really aha moment with this work too, to understand that, our emotional body plays a huge role in what our physical body is doing. So inviting the spirit of joy, find things that bring you joy, go into a park, go into a playground, swing on the swings again, something like that.
Absolutely. You have to stay young inside to be curious about life and experience life as a fresh, as it comes at you, not as an expectation. And that's something I had to totally turn around. I've had all kinds of expectations from myself and others, and the minute I started dropping it, oh my gosh, you start really just simply enjoying the moment, and you don't care what people will do or not do. If they do, great. If they don't, fine. I'm still good. So I definitely was able to work with my joyous energy and heal myself, as much as I have already done. I'm sure it's plenty to do, and I'm always evolving and healing as I walk this path. But, this is a very, very important topic, because if we are creating our life, our story now, then we are in charge of our thoughts and feelings that are creating the path toward, and whether we have issues or not. And even if you end up having an issue, you have a much easier perception about it than, getting all wrapped up and depressed about it by extending that issue to a bigger issue. Yeah, absolutely. So what do you see kind of the trend right now in the issues that people coming to you? I actually have been contacted by someone with some sort of, a serious problem that they're having. It was a couple of months ago, so now I'm thinking back, and I think I will refer them to you. But what kind of issues do people come with right now? I'm just trying to see what the main problems in humanity in regard to health.
Oh gosh, that's such a great question, Roxanne. I hope I can. Well, one of the things that has been showing up has been, and actually speaking about the emotional body. So people have been calling in our wanting sessions, and they're experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, or they're experiencing a lot of worry. Now, where that gets set in at what point in our life, I'm not, could be anything. However, depending on how we live our life, we'll continue to reinforce that. So what the Spirit Doctor team showed very clearly was there was like this, if you can imagine like a loop, like a figure 8, right? It was a loop pattern energetically. Within this was a woman, and they said, we see it very clearly. It is fear, it's anxiety and worry. And we're just going to actually snip that loop. And so they did. It was amazing. They snipped the loop. And then what they did was fascinating. I mean, we can do this actually as we're just here talking. Then they infused into every cell of her being a sense of relaxation, a sense of peace. And I think when we finished the session, it was really hard for her to even speak. And I said, well, how are you feeling now? And she said, well, I just feel wonderful and relaxed. And when I explained to her what had happened and the many ways that they worked with her, they used a lot of water. They took her to a tidal pool and let her float in that. Took her under a waterfall for just really cleaning and clearing. And so she was saying how she loves water. It was kind of fascinating that they obviously tuned into that and worked with that element. But I think that, I don't know, I'm imagining, most people are worried about the state of affairs of the world, and which creates some of the anxiety and fear. And so really, it's a time for self-reflection. It's a time for self-work, because every bit of clearing that each one of us does go out and feel like a light to the collective, and has a role. Just like we've heard, when the butterfly wing moves somewhere across the planet, there's the wind that can be felt, from that movement, that we're all connected. But as a theme, I think, it does come in waves. It's interesting. There'll be a certain topic or theme that's up for like 3 or 4 months, and then it'll shift a little bit. But right now, I think people are opening up to, once they step out of this loop pattern, they can begin to really feel more grounded in their being, feel more of the expansion in the light that is actually coming in, that we've been talking about, that's available. It's all available. We just have to get ourselves to a place that we can actually receive.
Right. Well, more than anything, opening up our hearts and connecting. And if we want to change anything in life, including the state of our affairs, if we can go into politics and say, okay, how do we fix politics? Well, you got to fix yourself. And I don't like to use word fix, but you have to shift within yourself. And as everyone shifts, then the affairs change. Our personal relationships with each other change. And then that extends to bigger ones like politics and etc. We can't even begin talking about such big interactions between people if internally we don't know what's going on. If internally we're not okay with ourselves and we have a battle within us, then how do you expect to live in the world of harmony if within us we don't have harmony? I always say change begins with yourself. And I hope you agree, Susan. And if you don't, that's fine.
I love what you're saying, Oksana. You're saying it so beautifully, and it's so true. I mean, that's exactly where we need to be focused. And I think that's the thing about all these events in the outside world is they really, and some of it's purposeful, intentful to really put fear, in the forefront, rather than what is right before us in that day as we take a walk, and see a flower or see a good friend, have a nice coffee or something, yeah. And that's absolutely right. Change starts right here.
Right. So what can you tell us about your upcoming events? What is going on right now in regard to your sessions? And also, if you could give us that information, and how can people contact you if they need private sessions or maybe just ask a question or clarity? Can you please tell us that?
Sure. This month, September 25th, is a Sunday, and I'm going to be offering a teleconference that is a group session. It's a group healing session with the Spirit Doctor team. So several people will be calling in from different places, and I'll take everyone through the healing process and working with the team. And so there you could, if you're interested in experiencing them, that's a great way to do it because it's very affordable to do a group healing session. It's like $35. And you can come on and experience the work. And then in October, Sven and I are going to be, if anybody's listening in or close to London, we're going to be doing some workshops in London in mid-October. 2 full-day workshops and then an evening lecture at the College of Psychic Studies, which is going to be really, really fun to go there. I'm very pleased that we're being hosted. So that's what's coming up, and you can find out more details or information by contacting us via our website or visiting our site, which is crystalmountainhealing.com. And there is a contact sheet. If you'd like to write us an email with a question or a comment, we'd love to hear from you. And there you'll also see the other offerings. The private session work is generally booked 4 to 6 weeks out. And then we have a really large project that we're going to do in December that's called the Sacred Earth Project, where we're going to be working with dowsers and doing a little cleanup for the planet. So we're looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Are you actually going to London, or are you doing teleconference only?
No, we're actually going. We're going to go. So these are in-person events. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! I would love to go back to London. I love that city.
Well, I just heard. I just heard from 2 friends in the States that are coming. So I'm very excited. Yeah, come on. Hop over, Oksana. It's not a big.
It's September 25th, right?
Well, September 25th is the online teleconference. You can just do it from the privacy of your very own place, which is nice. But the October events are all in London and they're live. Yeah, it's 2 workshops and a lecture. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I may consider October.
Yeah, that would be amazing. We're going to be doing Spirit Doctor work, and we're going to be doing in 1 full-day workshop, and then the second workshop we're going to do Sven and I together, so it's going to be a blend of the Spirit Doctor work and dowsing, and it's the first time we're actually doing it as a day workshop, as a blending, so it'll be interesting. We don't know exactly what's going to happen yet.
That's the fun part. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, all right. So every week, thank you so much for giving all that information, and I definitely will stay connected with you and see if I could possibly go to London. But can we go to our homework part? Every week we give out homework to our guests, and I was going to propose first for you to potentially give us homework, and if you don't think of anything specific, maybe I can contribute, but I would love to hear from you if you have something specific for people to to either do or incorporate in their life for a natural healing to occur without addressing the spirit doctors, but something that they can do that will take them closer to self-healing part.
Yeah, I would love to suggest something, and then of course add on or however you feel, Oksana. But one thing, when we've been talking a lot about our expansive self, one thing to do is that you could do something like what I call stir your senses. So you could choose to do, listen to a piece of music and see how it moves you, to actually go dance somewhere, or just take a nice long walk in nature, or even, have a nice warm bath. But whatever you're doing, whatever you would choose to do to stir your senses, is to really be completely present. So you might find your mind thinking about what you have to do before or after, whatever. Just keep noticing that and going, okay, just let that go, and really be present with the activity and how you feel. That would be one thing that might be fun to do. Another thing I was thinking that might be fun is to really, is to just, if you wanted to add on a second little part or second homework, is to really sit in a quiet meditation and ask to have communication with your guides and with your angels. Just ask and allow whatever's going to happen. You'd be really surprised. I mean, I was the first time. Remember, I said I had that voice that just sort of dropped in and said, I want my life back. And so anyway, that would be a fun thing to do. Often, if you're in nature, you'll get visitations. Like Stephanie's been having visitations with the owls. You might have a specific animal that will show itself to you, maybe in the sky or sitting next to you, So those are my suggestions for homework. I'm going to do some myself this week.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do like the steering of your senses phrase as well. I typically go back. I typically go back to my breath, because breath is now. You cannot be in the future. You are only in the future in your mind with your thoughts, and in the past with your worries. So you worry about actually, to be more clear, you'll be more worried about the future and stuck in the past. And as we were talking earlier, thoughts are energy. So you are connecting yourself to what hasn't happened yet, and you have your expectations of whatever it is, and you're stuck with your thoughts, which is energy, in the past, how it already happened. And you don't see any other way, because all you know is the past. So thank you, Susan. Yes, being in the moment is what allows you to expand, to be present, and not to rely on the data and the worry that doesn't really serve you any good. So thank you, Susan, so much. I will definitely be in contact with you about a number of things, and I very much appreciate your time on air today. I will have to say goodbye very soon, so I can wrap up the show today. But again, thank you for your presence. Thank you for being who you are, and thank you for being part of my life.
Thank you, Oksana. It's been my pleasure, and much love to you and to Stephanie. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, and we will chat soon.
Okay, I look forward to it. Bye-bye.
So, bye-bye. So we are wrapping up this show. It was amazing to speak with Susan today, and what I wanted to remind everyone is please connect with us on Facebook. Our page is www.facebook.com/Body and Soul Awareness Radio. So please connect with us there. And if you have any questions for me, either about my classes that will be on videos soon. Right now they're just local in Washington, D.C. area, but soon they will be on videos on YouTube. I will be posting them on Facebook and my website. So please connect with me on my website at www.oksanaganchar.com. It's all one word, oksanagonch.com. Or you can email me at mind, body, and soul. It's all one word, mind, body, and soul in letters at oksanaganchar.com. And with this, I would like to wrap it up. Stephanie will be on next time with us. And please do your homework. Please enjoy your week. And we will chat with you next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a wonderful week ahead.